This is vessel ESPRIT, Catalina 30, US flagged, San Francisco registered as present. 2 solar panels, a nice little motor lifting mount. Let's take a walk around and see what we got here. A little rub rash. Just some dock scratches. De nada. Minor gel coat repairs. Bottom paint looks great on this boat. Doesn't look like you even need to do a bottom paint job on this. It looks like it's ready to go. Little play with the rudder. So bearings or bushings in the rudder post, I would have a look at that. Just a little bit of play. But rudder looks good. It's good and solid. Sounds solid. Bottom sounds good. No cracks in the skeg here. It's not a true skeg, it's just a little fairing. 3-blade prop. Cutlass bearing feels good. Got a new zinc on there ready to go. That zinc looks like it wants to be replaced. And the skeg here looks good too. Nice and straight. That's what you want to see. Looks perfectly fine. Shaft looks in good shape, turns easily. No pitting that I can see at all. Looks to be in pretty good shape. Keel looks nice and straight. Looks really good. The fairing joint to the hull connection looks really good. There's no cracking whatsoever here. No issues with the keel to hull joint at all. Bottom paint's good throughout. Transducer, Air Max. And looking down the port side, no issues at all. Looks real good. All the way back. Through hulls are plugged up, so no critters can get inside. Jack stands look good. No hull compression on any of these jack stands anywhere. Hull speed spins nicely, no problem. I don't know why this boat's still here. Really should have sold. People are sleeping on these deals, man, I tell you. Nice clean looking boat so far. Lumar Delta anchor on the roller there. Nice looking little boat. And we got a little bit of wind today. Bow pulpit's nice and straight, railing looks good, doesn't look like it's been banged into anything. Nice little starboard there, just to prevent the anchor from digging into the hull gel coat. There's been a slight repair there, but that's minor, it looks fine. Everything looks real good on this boat. Very nice looking little boat. Gained some rub rash from the dock, but it's nothing. Good looking boat. Let's take a look up. Looks like the all the mast head instruments look really good actually. Looks like it's got a nice rig on it. Simrad radar with a loudspeaker right beneath the radar. Good looking, pretty heavy duty rig actually for a 30-foot boat. Let's climb aboard. Taking a look at the cockpit here now. Nice space, nice big hatch with a nice deep cockpit. Manual bilge pump there, whale gusher, scupper drains in the back there, emergency tiller posts. Lumar 40 double speed, 2-speed I should say, self-tailing winches. So you have 2 Lumar 40s on the coaming and 2 more winches on the cabin top, 2-speed Lumars, self-tailing. Rigging all run aft here to the cockpit. A big cockpit opening hatch. So these are Lumar 16s, self-tailing, 2-speed winches on the deck, cabin top. Rope clutches look to be in, or line clutches, pardon me, look to be in good condition. And cam cleats, line cubbies here, winch handle in there, so you can keep your lines tidy as you're underway. Ample stowage, flare kit, spare lines, shore power cable. Whale gusher pump. Looks like a water heater possibly right there beneath me. And stowage for your fenders and other cleaning supplies. Lots of space down here. Huge cockpit locker. Engine controls. And engine hours. 2391 I think that says, or 97. 239 something. Your downhaul for the split backstays. For adjusting your backstay tension. These are 65-watt solar panels. Times 2, so you have 130 watts of solar on the arch here. Stainless is all looking good. There's a nice little barbecue here. A little emergency fluke anchor, Danforth style. And these are nice because you can open up the gate at the back, flip the swim ladder down, you have easy access off the back of the boat into the water. And your motor mount right there, so you can swing the motor around on this on the motor mount here. Great little setup. And again, of course, this huge cockpit space back here with your propane bottles and an Adler Barber refrigerant system right here, 12 volt DC refrigerating system, and keep your beers cold underway. Very clean, very tidy. I mean, other than of course it's dusty. We're sitting up here in storage, so of course it's going to be a little dirty, dusty. Let's take a look at the binnacle here. Okay, awesome wheel binnacle. Raymarine autopilot unit right here. Wheel mounted. Electric motor driven, not belt driven. There's your autopilot controls right there. All pretty contemporary. This is all pretty new electronics, which is great. depth, boat speed, trip, right there, fantastic. Nice controls for your engine, throttle, and gear. Ritchie compass, standard horizon, chart plotter slash radio unit. That's really interesting. And I imagine this incorporates the AIS as well. I've actually not seen one of these yet, so radio and chart plotter integrated in a single unit. Very cool. Good controls right here at the helm. Great setup. Of course, you'll notice that this Dodger, soft Dodger here, has the canvas covers over the isinglass. So the isinglass, as a result, is nice and clear. Hasn't been completely bleached out by the sun and clouded. So that's a nice thing. And this sunshade overhead is marvelous, especially on a hot day like today. It's about 30 plus degrees here in the desert. So let's take a look on the deck here. Lifelines are in good condition. All the terminal fittings are nice and clean. All the stainless is nice and clean. This boat's been well maintained. Diesel wastewater fittings right there. Your shore power connection here. Marinco 30 amp power connection. Okay. Sail tracks look good. There's a non-skid deck surface that's comes from factory. The gate's nice shape with the little pelican gooseneck attachment there. This is a nice full-size traveler ahead of the companionway, which is fantastic. Well rigged setup. Adjustable topping lift, which adjusts at the mast. It's a soft boom bang setup. Additional sail track on the cabin top there. Additional woodwork here, which would be for stowing your spare fuel cans, jerry cans of extra fuel and or water on deck. Standing rigging looks good. Deck attachments look good. There's no deck lifting here. In fact, that's pulled down into the deck a little bit. There's a slight pressure crack there. The terminal ends look good. The fork toggle looks good. Turnbuckles look good. Still has the original chrome plating on it. And the swage point doesn't look very rusty there at all, so that's a good sign. Standing in general looks to be in good shape. No pronounced candy caning or anything like that, so that looks good. Okay, we'll keep moving up the port side. Schaefer fair leads on deck. Portholes all look good. Doesn't look like there's any cracking or leaking or anything there. That is weird at all. It looks like there actually is a little bit of caulking that has been applied there, so there might be a little bit of a water leak issue at that point. Deck fitting again. Looks okay. A little bit of rust there, but we'll have a look and see if we can see the chain plate on the inside. But it looks like it was properly bedded at some point. May need to be rebedded. Again, fork toggle looks good. Turnbuckle looks good. Swage fitting looks good. No cracks in the deck fittings at all. It looks good. No hatch covers, which is unfortunate because the hatches get cloudy, but the seals around the hatches look fine, so it doesn't look like these leak at all. Deck step for the mast looks good. No cracking in the gel coat. No compression of the deck. It feels solid everywhere. No deck softness whatsoever. Gooseneck looks good on this, on the boom. Everything looks real nice and tidy on this vessel. Don't mind the halyard smacking. Rig is straight as an arrow. And the shrouds, or the spreaders, form a right angle. So the rig is in good shape, it's properly tuned, straight as an arrow. I like to see that. Deck is solid. Halyard attachment there, again, no cracking the gel coat, a little bit of discoloration. Might want to just pop that off, clean up the gel coat with some rust removal, clean off that little bit of stainless and rebed it, but it looks fine otherwise. And again, deck attachment looks perfectly good. No lifting, no compression on this one, no staining. This looks fine. I don't like this. People doing this thing, get out of this habit. It's not good for your fork toggles. That's what that's for. Attach your halyard over to your halyard attachment point. Don't side load your standing rigging. Spinnaker pole with the track on the mast. Nice bit of kit there, so that's real handy. Real nice for pulling out your Genoa and or running a code 0 or a little spinnaker. Oh, this is a small enough boat. Nice deck space though. Good handholds, they're covered, so they'll stay in good shape. Vetus Royal windlass. What's left of the code there. So that's an electric windlass with a gypsy and a standard winch drum on there, which is awesome because you can put any line on there and pull your line up with that. Fantastic. Their anchor locker. We have a Pro Furl furling head sail on here with the double track foil. Foil's in good shape. It spins easily in my hand here. Pro Furls are good systems too. Anyone I've talked to who owns them, I don't personally have one, but anyone I've talked to who has a Pro Furl system has nothing but good things to say about it. Okay, there. So the swivel's a little stiff for the head swivel, so you want to grease that up. But I mean, it's turning, it's not seized, so that's a good thing. Just needs a little bit of a renewal of the grease. Attachment to the chain plate looks real good. Again, no real bad looking corrosion at all in any of the stainless. This is interesting. It feels like, yeah, at some point here the core of this line has been removed and there's only the outer webbing on here. I would not be keen on that. I think they did that just to try and prevent any issues of overrides on the furler, but I mean, I'd rather run a cord line that's smaller so you have the strength of the core instead of just the outer sheath on this. So that's something that if you're planning on sailing a lot in any higher wind conditions, I would change that out with just a smaller diameter line. Anchor locker. It looks like there may be wiring there for some hand controls to control the windlass possibly, but don't quote me on that. Galvanized chain looks to be in decent shape. All looks good. Very nice and clean. No splitting in the gel coat at all around the cleats or around the attachment of the bow roller and chain plate, so everything looks real good. The boat looks like it's been well cared for and tenderly handled through the years. Okay, moving back along starboard. Water fill. chain plate. Again, through deck looks good. No lifting. Deck is solid. Stainless in good shape. Looks perfectly good. Starboard side. Deck step looks perfect. No issues there at all. Looks fine. Yep. I have no concerns at all with anything I'm seeing with the rigging. Nice rail mounted ferro lead turn block there for your furling. Very clean, tidy, good looking boat here. So again, I film boats in these conditions, in their stowed conditions, because this is the truth. The truth of how they are put away and the truth of how you're going to see them when you come to look at a boat here in San Carlos. So entering the companionway here, 3 steps down, galley to port, nice little galley. For a 30-foot boat, the layout on these boats is just fantastic. Forced tin, gimbaled stove, dual sinks. Stepping down, nav station, electrical panel to starboard. Sails nicely put in here. Sail looks like new. It really does, actually. The sail looks like new, and it has that. It's got that crinkle. I think actually it is a new sail. That looks like it's brand new. So there you go. Brand new Ullman sails. The sail ties are still like brand new, so there you go. That sail's in immaculate condition. It's been used. It's obviously been up before, but I mean it's like still a new crinkle sound, so that's nice. Little musty smelling in here, but I mean it's super dry here in the desert, so it's not terrible. The boat needs to be gone through and detailed, of course, because it's been sitting in stowage. So, but here we are, nav station, alternator readouts, Uniden radio, so you have a backup radio here. Sony stereo head unit. Your DC panel and AC master switch. Battery selector. Battery monitor, Morningstar, which is the same system I have on my boat for solar. So the solar is not operating right now by the looks of things, so unfortunately, yeah, there's no way for me to check on the actual condition of the batteries, so that's a question you want to check out during a survey. Once the electrical system's turned on, just check out the status of the batteries. I like to see when I'm boarding these boats that a panel's left on and it's maintaining the batteries. So nice little quarter berth back here. Looks like we got some spare hose for the engine, and cockpit cabin, cockpit cushions are back here. Pioneer speakers if you're interested. Okay. These boats are nice, you know, you don't have the typical teak cabin sole, so they're real easy to clean up, right? You can get a mop in here and clean this right up. Foot pumps for the water system, probably fresh and salt there. Top loading fridge freezer combination. The freezer plate there, and we saw where the unit is in the aft lazarette cockpit. That's your propane monitor and control, emergency shut off for the solenoid. Looks like we have a little, oh yeah, a little garbage hatch there, and that goes into the cockpit there, under the cockpit hatch. All right, but nice space, great boats for a 30-footer. Like, you can't do any better. It's got the Force 10 diesel heater right there. So if you're intending on spending some time further north, say taking this boat back up to California in the winters, you've got some nice diesel heater to keep you warm. So this is great because you can see all the deck attachments, the condition of all these deck attachments. There's no rusting or staining, so there's no indication that there's any water ingress coming through here at all. Right, the exception of that one is a little cruddy, but it doesn't look like that's from water coming in. That's probably just from condensation, or else you'd see indication of staining and such around the headliner here. It's a hard liner. Again, it's just molded with this. It looks like it's soft, but it's just molded with this texture for just a little bit of style, I guess. It's stylized, but it's hard, so you can just take a nice cleaning product and clean any staining up. But it looks good in here. With the hatch open for a minute, the smell's already out of the boat, so it's just from being closed up nice and tight, which is a good thing, right? Again, look at all the through deck attachments, real nice and clean, no staining, no indication of water ingress, and that's probably, like I said, just from some condensation. Easy access for if you're looking to unbolt your sail tracks, right? So here again, there's your bolts through for all the sail track, all along the deck. No indication of leaking, with the exception of maybe that little spot right there. And a little bit of a, it looks like maybe just a knife slice there. It looks like maybe just from a blade of a shop knife there. But yeah, no, I'm not seeing any indication of any problems at all with water ingress. Easy assessment of the state of the chain plate there. That looks like an aluminum bracket. It's backed onto the back here. The stainless looks to be in decent shape. The wood looks to be in decent shape. There's no staining around there, so I don't think there's been any water ingress here whatsoever. A little bit of dust there, but yeah, no, the stainless looks perfect, and those aluminum brackets look good. Curious that they would go with an aluminum backing plate like that, but I mean, it's working. There's no staining, there's no stressing there. One little crack in the gel coat of the liner, of this plastic liner, right? Got a little TV here. Nice space. Looks like original cockpit material cushions, or rather original salon cushion materials. But I mean, if these are original, then it gives you an idea of the state that this boat has been kept in. It's been taken care of. So maybe a little dated in style and appearance, but the condition is good, which tells you the boat has been maintained well. So that is nice. Again, chain plate here in excellent condition. Not seeing really any serious indication of water ingress coming in off the deck here. It all looks really good and clean. You can check again the deck fittings there. All the stainless looks good. Bolt for the chain plate here. We'll go look at the other side of it on the other side of this bulkhead. Portals to see if there's any indication of leaking. It looks good. I'm not seeing any indication of serious leaking at all here. That might even be propane, actually. I'm not sure if that's diesel or propane. I'm thinking it's actually propane. Bronze clocks, they need to be shined up, but that's kind of cool that the boat comes with a nice bronze clock and barometer there. A little bit of degradation there on that bit of cabin sole. Let's see if I can pop that out of there. Bilge pump. Bilge looks a little grimy, grimier than I'd like to keep it myself. But you can see the keel bolts there. And the keel bolts there. They look to be in really good condition on just a visual inspection. Of course, usually the corrosion will happen where you can't see them. But I mean, just based on a cursory glance, and there's the one up front there too. Based on a cursory glance, it looks good. There's no cracking in the glass here, and the weave roving at all. Okay, well this is interesting. I can hear this pump running, and then when I lift the switch, it shuts the pump off. So I think the wires are switched. They're wired backwards. So the float is operating the bilge pump when it shouldn't be. And as a result, if that's been going on, this bilge has been barely just running. Can you hear that? Off. And then when the float switches down all the way, which is the opposite of what it should be, the pump is wanting to run. So because of that, and I'll let the owner know this, but because of that, I would suspect that the battery, especially if it's not being maintained, it's not plugged into shore power, and does not appear that the solar's on, the batteries are probably shot, because that's just been sitting and running. But at any rate, we're looking at the keel bolts here, and they look to be in great shape. Bilge is, like I said, a little dirty, so that needs to be tidied up. But nothing that would concern me there, other than, like I said, the fact that the bilge pump has been running. It's so sapping power off of everything. Base of the compression post looks fine. There's a little bit of cracking in the gel coat there, but that doesn't necessarily mean that there's anything weird going on with the compression post that I can see anyway. Okay, moving forward then. Take a look at the head. Le pissoir. Wood's a little in need of some oil on it. Just a little dried out. It actually smells like a sauna in here because it's probably as hot as a sauna in here. Manual pump with the vented anti-siphon loop, which you want to see. Standing room is good in here. You can stand up in here just fine. With the vent right above your head and a shower handle. A little outlet there. Toilet paper holder, access to through hull. The little Marlon composite ball valve there. And the other through hull there, larger Marlon style composite material with a bronze elbow in it. Through hull turns easily to open and shut there. Let's check the other one. Turns easily, no problem. Those turn just fine. Leave those in the closed position as they should be to keep critters out, and when you put the boat back in the water, to keep the water out. Hanging locker right here, half height, and V-berth, sleeps 2. That's the big opening hatch there that we saw from on deck. Again, it looks pretty clean. Doesn't look like it's been leaking at all. It smells actually good and dry up in here. Access to the chain locker is likely right through there. I'm not going to crawl up in here right now. Too damn hot. I'm sweating too much. And there you go, a little deck prism for natural light. There's the other side of the chain plates there. Again, looks perfect. No staining in the wood at all. No staining at all. Looks perfect. Excellent. Good to see. Chain plate there. There's a little bit of weirdness there with the steel. See how it's pinched up at the corner there? But that's well gusseted. It's a nice clean TIG weld, very nice clean TIG weld there. And the condition of the plate overall is fine. It doesn't look rusted or like it's about to fail in any kind of way. So I mean, that's pulled it up a little bit there, but I mean, that wouldn't necessarily concern me. If you're really picky about it, you could pull that off and then re-weld on that backing plate there just to straighten it out. But me personally, I wouldn't even fuss about it. It looks fine. Okay, the other one's probably on the inside of this head, so let's go see if I can find that one and see what I mean. That's nice and straight there. It's not pulled up in the corner, so it's gusseted. It's well gusseted there. Stainless, clean. A little bit of corrosion, but that's probably honestly from being in here in the shower, not from any evidence of water coming through the deck. So okay, so that might be lifting up a little bit right there. Would that concern me in the least? No, not really. As long as it's not lifting up on deck, and we didn't see any lifting on the deck at all. Because that'd be your only concern, is that starts lifting up and you're getting water between there and into the core of the deck, which this is probably a foam core deck, or maybe balsa, it's hard to say. I'll confirm. But yeah, no, it's in great shape. All of the attachments for chain plates are good, so worst case, you'd undo that shroud, those shrouds, unbolt this from in here, remove it, which wouldn't be too destructive at all. It looks like it'll come out without even disturbing the cabinetry at all. Yeah, that'd come right out of there without any issue. And there's your filler attachment, plumbing. Yeah, so I mean, you could bring that to a welder, have them just cut that out and put a new plate on there, backing plate for underneath the deck. De nada. Okay, so great boat. Couple minor little cosmetic things, right? Otherwise, this thing looks like she's ready to go sailing tomorrow. And yeah, fantastic boat. I can't believe it's still sitting here. So somebody better write an offer on this thing. It's gonna go fast. And here we have a look at the nice little universal diesel. Generally pretty clean, actually. You know, there you can see some paint failure. And that coolant, man, is just nasty on paint. So if it's had a failure at all with the radiator cap leaking slightly, and I mean, replacing a radiator cap is completely inexpensive, but that'll wreck your paint. But I mean, other than that, these are nice little engines. Little twin 2-cylinder, looks real nice and clean. The belt looks good. You usually want to replace belts if they've been sitting at all for any length of time. Aftermarket filter fram, naturally aspirated, you know, easy to maintain, easy to fix. There's your raw water pump right there, impeller, easy to access. And of course, you can access it from the front there as well. Okay, very easy access to maintain and replace your impeller. Motor mounts look, you know, a little corroded, but the actual mounting surface looks good on the hull here. Support. This needs to be cleaned up a little bit, and it's not a big deal to replace engine mounts. See, you can see the difference. That one's in much better condition. So this one's had a little bit of salt water, of course, right? If that raw water pump is leaking a bit at all, that salt water is sitting on steel, and that's exactly the difference. What salt water does versus no salt water. But no belt dust. Pulleys look clean. Everything looks real clean. The teeth on the belts are good. Motorola style alternator, belt tensioning arm, Parker water diesel separator. Your water pump is down here. Lift pump. Generally looks pretty nice and clean. 2,390 something, I believe it was, hours on this engine. Wiring harness looks nice and clean. Bundled off out of the way. Okay, so the only issue with the weird soft deck is here in the cockpit. It's hard to maybe see the contour here, but yeah, there's something that has gone on here with the cockpit floor where it's there's a little bit of weirdness in the surface of it. A little bit of softness, or I wouldn't even say softness, but just a little bit of movement here. So that would be the only issue of deck surface that I'd be concerned with. But again, I don't see any serious issues with the yeah, there's a little bit of movement there. It's a little, what would you call, soft, but it's solid enough, I mean, but there's been maybe an issue with that. Some water gotten in here between the cockpit floor. Other than that, man, this boat is in excellent shape. Only minor issues just like that, which, I mean, you probably wouldn't even necessarily ever need to do anything with it unless it got wet. It's got spongy at all. Right now it's dry and solid enough. Okay.